All right, we can all see the weather is not going to let me be great, but that is okay because I am here to talk about my Mr. Competitive, and my Mr. Competitive is going to be Shilo Sanders. And I know this video might trigger some people, and some people might be like, why is she talking about Shiloh? Why Shiloh? I could not do this series without adding Shilo Sanders, because you know what? Shilo Sanders and Shilo Sanders really started this whole path and really started this whole Colorado thing. And I needed Shilo Sanders to have his rightful place in my series. And so Shilo Sanders is here. So for those of you that are frustrated, and maybe the wind is frustrated with me too, I don't really care. Shilo Sanders is here because I think Shiloh is Mr. Competitive. And I think he is Mr. Competitive because he has to be. I'm not going to make this video and placate. I'm not going to make this video and talk about all the reasons why Shiloh is going to get drafted in the first round and all these things. But what I am going to do is appreciate what Shilo Sanders brings to the table, and I'm going to talk about how those things could potentially show up in the NFL. This list is about the people that I'm interested in and the people that I'm very fascinated to see what happens to them and how their game evolves, and Shilo Sanders falls within that. You will also notice, because you will have seen a couple of videos at this point, this video is going to be all over the place. My hair is going to be all over the place, and we're just going to do what we need to do. But let me get to the other side of this video so I can talk all about Shilo Sanders, why he is on this list, and why I have deemed him Mr. Competitive. I am one of those people that likes to take all the negative things and turn them into a positive. I started a YouTube channel with the name Really Flawed. One of the reasons why I'm doing that is because I think we can all think about all the negative things that Shiloh does. We can always talk about the fact that he misses tackles. We can always talk about the fact that he's not athletic. We can always talk about all these things, right? We can go on and on and on and on about those things. One thing that I haven't heard anybody say negatively against Shiloh is that he was a bad teammate. I haven't heard anybody say anything negatively about Shiloh's personality. I haven't heard anybody say anything negatively about Shiloh's work ethic. And I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about Shiloh's locker room impact. And I know that some of us always just want to look at players and see what they can do on the field and how great they are on the field. But I will say this until I'm blue in the face. Football teams always need guys that can just come in and do their job. They're not going to be the best. They're not the move the needle type of guys, but they're going to come in and they're going to give you what they got. And everybody knows what they're going to give you, and they're just going to do that thing. There are always guys that are not necessarily the guys. And just because you're not the guy doesn't mean you shouldn't be on a football team. Just like I've done in all my other videos, I'm going to talk about 5 things when it comes to Shiloh. The first thing I'm going to do is talk about the combine. Now, I know that he didn't go to the combine, but I kind of have a couple of thoughts that I'm going to add in that section that's going to be different than my other videos. So there's that. I'm also going to talk about his pro day. I get it. He ran the 40, all the things. I got it. So we're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to talk about his competition, who they played, how he played against that competition, all of those things. Then the next thing I'm going to move over is to his career stats and where I think he's going to go, or some teams that I think would need a safety, things like that. And then the final thing I'm going to talk about is my eye test. What am I thinking? How do I feel? A little bit of negatives. Whether you like it or not, Shiloh is going to be in the NFL, so I'm going to move on to the next section. I'm going to talk about his combine, or to share my thoughts about the combine, because I might have something interesting for you to hear when it comes to that. I'm just popping in here to say, hey, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Why are you watching content and you're not subscribed to my channel? Do me a solid, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I will disappear from your screen and I will let you get into your video. We all know Shilo Sanders wanted to go to the combine. We all know Shilo Sanders wanted that invite. He didn't get that invite, but he didn't sit at home and he didn't sulk. What he did was he got to work and immediately started training for his pro day, and I respect him for that. I think we spend so much time wanting these players to just be amazing and be dynamic and be this and be that. Every player isn't that. Everybody's path isn't that. Everybody's testimony isn't the same. Is he Shador? No. Is he Coach Prime? No. But he's Shilo Sanders, and like I always say, attitude matters a lot. Nobody wants to deal with a bad attitude, okay? Nobody does. If you wanted to deal with a bad attitude, answer me this. How many of you are in a relationship with somebody that has a bad attitude? How many of you love to hang out with friends who have bad attitudes? How many of you like to be around your parents when they have an attitude? How many of you like to be around your children when they have bad attitudes? Nobody wants to be around anybody with a bad attitude. So I don't want us to take a good attitude for granted. And I think Shiloh has a really good attitude. And yes, you might say that doesn't matter. That's a low-hanging fruit. That's this and that's that. But I'm just going to throw out things here because I think we hear a lot of negative things about Shiloh. I'm not saying some of the negative things about Shiloh are not warranted, but what I am saying is I think that there's more positives about Shiloh that we never hear. Let's be honest, for Pro Day, there's not really a lot for me to say. All eyes were on Shiloh. We all wanted to see what his 40 time was going to be. The interesting thing about Shiloh is I will say there might be people who are going to say, no, he ran a 4.4 based on this. Da, da, da. I honestly, at the end of the day, I'm not going to spend my time about a tenth of a second or whatever, right? Like, I don't even care at this point. For what I know, he ran a 4.52. If you want to say he ran a 4.4, cool. Whatever we all want to say, cool. I'll give it to him. Whatever it is, I'll just give it to him. But at the end of the day, we all know we watched that Pro Day because we wanted to know Shiloh's 40 time. We got Shiloh's 40 time. It is what it is. I'm just going to move on to the next section. Competition in the Big 12 is not like the competition in the SEC and Big 10. I don't care who has an issue with that. It just isn't. And so when it comes to Shilo Sanders, the way he plays against the competition, honestly, is going to kind of be one of my issues, is because we all know the games and we all know the moments that Shiloh missed a tackle or didn't do the things he was supposed to do. I'm not going to sit here and act like those things didn't happen. However, I'm not going to judge him on the worst moments that he's had because I know he's had bad moments. I'm not going to act like he hasn't had bad moments. But my thing with Shiloh is that he continues to compete. Even after he got embarrassed, he came to the podium to have a conversation. I saw a professional putting a microphone in front of his face, feeling like crap, taking accountability for the way that he played. And if you're going to ask me, do I want a guy like that on my NFL team? I am going to say yes. I will say probably one of the most interesting aspects about Shiloh as a whole is going to be his career stats and what you think about his stats. Obviously, I'll place the information here. I do want to say that I do believe that his 2023 season was more impactful than his 2024 season, but I think that's because his 2024 team was better than his 2023 team. Let's be real here. In 2023, they were 4-8. In 2024, they were 9-3. The team was actually better than it was in 2023. That's not a knock on Shiloh. I'm just calling out the numbers here. The other thing is here, I'll put up his 2024 stats. You can see them. His stats are what they are. There's nothing here, in my opinion, that's popping out at me that's screaming, oh my gosh, we have to take him, we have to select him, whatever. These are his stats. They just are what they are. Where Shiloh is going to go is actually going to be really interesting for me to look at, because is Shiloh going to go somewhere because it's Shiloh and he's going there by himself? Is he going to go somewhere with Shador? Like, I don't know where Shiloh is going to go. The other thing that concerns me is this is where his tackling ability comes into play, because a lot of people would say you can get a rookie and that rookie is going to 100% be on special teams and he's going to really help you out there. I think whenever you have an issue with tackling or doing things like that, it makes it harder for people to want you to be on their special teams. So I don't know where Shiloh is going to go. I think it's going to be interesting to see where Shador goes to figure out where Shiloh really goes. And I have a lot of things to say, honestly, about my eye test in the next section, and I don't want to ruin it. So let me just get on to my eye test and tell you all the things I'm thinking about and where I think Shiloh might end up and why I think he might end up there. My eye test with Shilo Sanders kind of goes something like this. Do I think he's going to miss tackles? Yes. Do I think he's going to be in position to make plays? Also, yes. Do I think that he can positively impact my team? Yes. Do I think that he has a good attitude? Yes. Do I think that he is capable of being an NFL player? Yes. Do I think he's going to play in an NFL game at some point? Yes. Do I think that he has some work to do? Yes. Do I hate the fact that he doesn't always make the tackle even though he's there on the play to make a tackle? Yes. Do I like seeing him get ran over and twirled around because of receivers? No. Would I bet money that Shiloh is going to get drafted? Probably. If I had to bet money, I would probably bet money that Shilo Sanders is going to get drafted. But the one thing that I know for sure is he's going to compete. He's going to show up with a great attitude. I think Shiloh is going to benefit from the NFL being a business. And what better business to have both of Coach Prime's sons on your team? Deion Sanders' sons are on their team. On a bye week, Coach Prime can fly in and go watch his sons play football. And I am here to see how many people get triggered because Shilo Sanders has an opportunity. So shout out to Shilo Sanders. Shout out to him being on an NFL team. Shout out to him potentially being drafted, and shout out to him for being on my list of 8. If you're letting Shilo Sanders trigger you, then I don't know what to tell you. The sun is coming out, and I will see you in my next video.